For holding W, I have the notes to ask Rhea for notes. So apologies, everyone. I don't have a good introduction for holding W, other than the fact that they do, in fact, probably hold down that W, and that they are an Aether team.
Oh, I recognize some of these players. Yeah, this is some of the Aether players definitely coming in to join a relatively newer, relatively less experienced team, but still a team with a lot of talent behind it and a team with some LP experience behind it, if not necessarily inside of tournaments, but at least inside of smaller scale scrim type competitions. Now, these are players on the Aether Data Center who have been putting in those hours, who've been going in basically since launch in order to try to get that rating. And like, these are definitely forces to look out for. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they can go against some of these more storied teams and, show what they're made of.
Indeed.
Speaking of who they're going against what? Let Them Fight. Some of the, definitely one of the stronger teams, definitely one of the teams with more tournament experience under their belt. I think they're the team that I believe won the last PvPrimal tournament.
I actually did not witness that one, so it's quite possible that, yes, they did. I am hearing from a ghost in my ear that, yes, they did. And that would be the very proud Soxfaro, who's also currently managing the camera and the stream and all the graphics. But they are also a member of Let Them Fight. So on Let Them Fight, we have Soxfaro Shimiki. I apologize, I'll read the team names this time, or the member names. We got Soxfaro Shimiki, Akira Hawk, Amumu, Seraph Spiegel, Setsuna Yuki, Kaede Kusukabe, and Miyu Moon.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, especially inside of the LP scene in North America specifically, is that there's a lot of team swaps. Like, a lot of individual members will frequently go from one team to another. Teams will reform, teams will rebrand. Frequently, you don't know who's anyone. Like, you'll see teams that have never competed before, full of tournament players, full of players that have worked together, basically, for months. Let Them Fight, an absolute exception to this rule. For the most part, Let Them Fight has been pretty static since its initial inception, and they've really been working together with almost no changes since the beginning of their appearances inside of LP. So it's definitely going to be interesting how one of these more legacied teams ends up showing what they've got to do.
The team that lost the first fight gets one chance to take it back, or it's over. Now, that is something that can be said for many maps, but C9 in particular, and especially in solo queue, can have that effect, and it's very unfortunate. Also, we've got 2 mugshots, but they've been placed on either side, so somehow that worked. Well done, Let Them Fight. And on the other side, holding W, no particular theme going here. Bit of a shame.
Unfortunately,
we all know that the portrait game is what matters.
All right, definitely. All right, now that we are into C9, probably worth talking a little bit about these comps. It looks like both teams are running a Dark Knight. Now, Dark Knight's probably its most important ability is its Salted Earth, and their ability to suck in people within a particular area into a smaller space, which allows your team to more easily land, crowd control, and cleave effects in a smaller area. Now, this ability is probably one of the strongest things and one of the most defining things that Dark Knight has, especially inside of PvP. It's going to be interesting to see how these different teams try to approach using this pick. Looks like we are getting off onto those launch pads.
And we see Setsuna Yuki drew balance, so we might see Let Them Fight use that, get that damage boost from that ass buff. There it is. And they might try to actually hold W and go hard at this opening engage. And holding W might try to play, they're trying to play more defensive, not fight under these conditions, because it is a DPS percent buff that you basically want to wait out if you can. But here we go. They are on Amumu for team Let Them Fight. And holding W, I'm not seeing who on their team. Okay, it's the Reaper. Looks like Let Them Fight's trying to kill the Reaper, and they succeed. They managed to take him down before he's going to get that very early LB off, and now they are trying to punish the the Dark Knight. I almost called them the Black Knight, and not let them survive. So holding W is now holding S and trying to get back. They are going to be run down here, though, potentially. That White Mage is very low. Let's see. Yep, Let Them Fight. Going to finish that kill. And this is what I was talking about on this map. It's incredibly punishing after you lose that first fight. But they take down Amumu. That's a huge pick for holding W, evening the odds. And this is also something about C9 is once the fight gets back into this spawn area, a lot of teams can overextend and be punished for it quite significantly. It looks like Let Them Fight's Monk is the target for Holding W. We'll see if Holding W is able to finish this before Seraph, the Monk, is able to use his LB for a free pick. Doesn't look like it. It's looking like he will survive, and Holding W is at a slight disadvantage, and the Ninja LB from Akira Hawk goes off, while Miyu Moon goes down from a return counterfire Wim LB. 3-4, not in favor of Holding W at the moment, but they are holding on quite well. They have Ast LB, there it goes. Amu Mu's Dark LB is also coming up. That Ast LB gives a 30% and decreasing damage buff. We'll see if Dark is able to fire while still having some of that. Could be quite a nasty full health Dark LB if possible. They are trying to get that Monk out of the picture, and that leaves Holding W still with 3. They're unfortunately staggered right now, and there's not a lot you can do other than try to rotate out of the point, but they are not having luck with that. Amu Mu's LB goes off, gets that pick on Lux, and down goes Holding W's Dark as well. Doesn't look like the White Mage is going to survive for long. They touched the stove, apparently, and Miyu Moon took them out with Sam LB. There is not a lot here that can be done, and it is over. As you see that Dark Suck you talked about, drawing Holding W's team members back in before they could even reach the crystal.
Yeah, definitely an explosive performance on the half of Let Them Fight, but I want to point out that Holding W itself was really struggling to get grouped up and really struggling to fight together as 5, especially with these early LBs. It's almost certainly on Holding W to start these fights off. Since they've got the White Mage, since they've got the Reaper, they're definitely going to be the ones to at the very least, want to use those LBs and want to get those charging. It's definitely not great that they weren't able to, start those fights with that Reaper LB. It's not great that they weren't able to group up together with these high charging but relatively lower value limit breaks. That coordination definitely has to be there with the comp that Holding W had. They've got the ability to go in and dive very hard while also having the ability to, bide their time. Within White Shift, using melee combo inside of White Shift, using a lot of these heavily powerful crowd control effects with resolution, Red Mage is able to take their time and then immediately go in, switch to Black Shift in order to try to get that first pick off, try to get an assassination thing on. Problem is, Red Mage itself tends to have pretty little in the way of health, and for a class that's most vulnerable when it's trying to do its damage, we don't end up seeing a lot of Red Mages inside of LP, so it's going to be interesting to see how they end up utilizing this, especially on a closed map, especially in a map where binds and silences can really help you catch people inside of these terrain elements. See whether or not this Red Mage can get any get their work done.
Yeah, honestly, the nerfs to... So Red Mage, of course, if anyone was playing back in S1, was an absolute monster the way it was originally released, and there was some nerfs done to rein it back in. And honestly, I personally think it might be time to give them a little buff back, because you just don't see them in solo queue that much. You don't see them in LP that much, and the trade-off, the things that they bring and the trade-off for it is honestly not worth the risk to a lot of people. So... that being said, if they're left alone and allowed to cook, a Red Mage will shred you, and a Red Mage will do so much damage. And it looks like the Monk from Holding W is in guard. Sorry, I missed that. That was very quick. Miyu Moon, the kill target apparently for Holding W in guard, slowly peeling back out of the fight. Able to
get that pick, but they've gotten another stun onto the Monk.
Action going on here. Nope. No luck on a Tatami Twist, and we finally see someone go down, and it's the Reaper again. That Reaper is really acting as a sort of off-tank, but in LP, as opposed to solo queue, Reaper is more squishy than people give it credit for. In solo queue, it's very easy because teams aren't focused and they don't know how to go all in on a target, but in LP...
Looks like Holding W is definitely respecting that initial first pick, trying to get regrouped, trying to sync up with those faster charging LBs to see whether or not they can get that first pick onto an enemy target.
Holding W's White Mage just took a Tatami Twist. I'm not sure why. Interesting strategy. Going for the laser there, as you mentioned. And it looks like they are going on Seraph Spiegel, the Monk, for Let Them Fight. or at least they are trying to. The red mage is deep in there. They're getting low. Manas are down, and down goes Sarah Spiegel, the monk, for Let Them Fight. But in return, the red mage goes down, and it looks like mana advantage is pretty even across. Amumu might actually go down next. All right, this is looking in favor of Holding W, but in comes Rojimbo. We'll see what he has to say about this. Will he get some picks? He will. That brings us to 2v3. That is unfortunate for Let Them Fight, for Holding W, but it does look like Let Them Fight is withdrawing for now, except one of them has come out of the doors and is trying to hold the point now where it is.
It's just absolute chaos. Meanwhile, on the side,
really is.
Red Mage out here 1v1ing, or at least was 1v1ing the Samurai. Samurai uses an LB in order to try to get that immediate pick. Reaper fears off onto the point, and we are going back towards Holding W's checkpoint. 2 down onto Holding W's side. White Mage goes down without having to use that LB. Looks like huge bind. LBs are being ripped. Astra LB ripped. Looks like the Dark Knight itself is also using their limit breaks to huge effect, sinking that damage, and we'll try to get that immediate kill while Holding W's Dark Knight is able to get that Dark Knight. Go ahead.
Reaper got gazed, which increases the damage they take by 200% there. So is not looking in favor of Holding W, as you were saying.
Definitely not looking great. A good use of LB sync against Holding W in order to try get that initial momentum, but it's going to be a little bit rough to see how they get back into this, especially with only a Red Mage and LB and White Mage LB. Red Mage LB used just to survive inside of their team's base, using that White Shift in order to try to survive, get to the point, goes in, doesn't get to use all their mana and goes down. White Mage still has that LB, is currently sitting in guard. We're going to be watching, see whether or not they can get that going off. Seraph, the monk itself, is almost going to get that meteor dive off. Meteor goes down.
The monk to monk, preventing that meteor from the other monk.
Meteor drive, and Holding W is not able to get that meteor drive off. It looks like 2 down. Luxmas is currently respawning, but with an LB advantage almost facing down. With Team Astra almost having all of its LBs again, it's going to be an uphill battle from this position.
Right, there goes Akira Hawk's Ninja LB. I don't think it actually managed to get a pick. We'll see if they're able to kill someone in the time frame. I don't think they are, but it does look like the Reaper is going down for Holding W. Holding W is putting up a substantial fight, and they're about to take down Amumu before he can get his LB. That is very, very fortunate timing for them. They really needed that pick. They do have some momentum here. The Dark Knight does have to draw back to get an elixir off. We'll see if he can. He's being chased, and he is going to get it back off, but they have 50 seconds to start making some forward progress here. Down goes their monk, targeted by Let Them Fight. Let Them Fight has about an LB economy about to take effect here. Both Darks are going to have LBs in this next fight as Amumu returns to it. Let Them Fight getting bruised up pretty bad here, though. It is 4v4 right now. Out goes the Dark Knight's LB from Amumu. Salem, Hawkstrom for Holding W has their LB now, too. They'll probably use it here as well. They might wait one more second, see if they can pop Amumu. Then they will. Setsuna Yuki asked, might be the next kill target, but it does look like Akira Hawk from Let Them Fight is going to try to hold the point. Ninja is tankier than a lot of people think, but it is also not as tanky as a lot of people think. And it looks like he's being left to die on the point.
With Red Mage LB up again, it looks like Holding W is in a pretty solid position moving in. They've just got to look out for that Meteor Dive in order to see if they can get that monk down, if they can get or silence that monk before they can get an advantage. Holding W has a real chance of getting some actual progress here, maybe even break the checkpoint, see if they can turn that into a win.
They might, but it looks like Amumu is going in to try to stall, not even let them try. Oh, he's going for a suck scam. Will they succeed? No, they will not. Amumu is now slightly out of position. We'll see if he gets abused for that. Out goes Monk LB on Setsuna Yuki, picking them off. Holding W out of LBs for the moment. Reaper LB about to come back up, though. Akira Hawk has Ninja LB that's incredibly dangerous right now. Monk LB used. Looks like they're trying to target the Reaper. Reaper's not going to be able to get their LB off, but will Let Them Fight's Monk go down, or will he be able to retreat? It looks like he will be able to retreat. That leaves it 3v4. Setsuna Yuki coming back up. Amumu is the kill target for Holding W. Out goes Mew Moon's Samurai LB for that insta-kill, and it does not look good for Holding W at the moment. Will they be able to rotate and continue to hold the point?
2 members back, one Red Mage coming in from base. They're all forced to guard immediately. Dies inside a guard, and looks like that is the game.
That is it.
Definitely one of the closer matches that we've seen today, but a very, very clean performance, especially towards the end, especially around those LB sinks. Well played by Let Them Fight.
And Rojimbo making an appearance to help clean some clocks on Clocktown, as it were.